Welcome to Fearless with Mary. I am your host, Mary Tibbetts, and I am so excited that you are here with me today. In today's episode, I am sitting down with Kiki True, founder of Kiki True Coaching. So, grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive in. Hi, Kiki. How are you?
I am so well. Thank you so much for having me on, Mary.
My pleasure. Thank you for being on. Okay, we are diving right into it. So, tell everybody a little bit about your diagnosis, when you were diagnosed, and how you knew you needed to go to the doctor.
Okay. Yeah, it was kind of a crazy time. Um, I was diagnosed in 2017, and my first really big symptom came when I was on a cruise ship in the Baltic with my ex-husband and my parents, and I lost the vision in my right eye. And I was freaking out. I like went to the ship doctors, and of course they didn't know what was happening. And I was like sure that I had a brain tumor and, all the just like doom thoughts that come into your head. And then a couple months later, after getting home, I was diagnosed with MS. And like looking back, I had just finished graduate school, like 6 months prior, and I was wondering when the like intense fatigue from that would lift because I was sure that it was just from working full time and doing grad school full time. And then come to find out there was actually a much bigger explanation for it. That was not the normal grad school fatigue, it was MS. And so yeah, we had talked a little bit before this about neurologists, but I went and my very first neurologist, it wasn't the best experience, but he ordered the MRIs for me and then just like never looked at them until I got into the office and was like, "Oh, like what are you here for again?" And I was like, "Well, you ordered me MRIs. Like we're trying to figure out why I lost the vision in my right eye." He was like, "Oh, okay, well, let's look at them." And so we did, and he was like, "Oh, it looks like you have MS. Like I'm sure that, you can do your own research.
Oh
Here's
my God.
here's a he like handed me like a basically it looked like a novel. It was like this huge book of that he wanted me to read about what the medication that he wanted to put me on. And I went home and I like bawled the whole way home. And every appointment after that, I just would bawl the whole way home. And so I was like, okay, this guy is not gonna cut it. And so I tried another neurologist. Um, and actually, in that time, I just was, sharing what was happening with friends and family. And a good friend gifted me a cookbook that was a cookbook for multiple sclerosis. And it was written off of this program, the Overcoming Multiple Sclerosis program. And I just like read the front matter of the cookbook and just had an overnight change in my diet and lifestyle because it explained that so much of MS is treatable and reversible with lifestyle, and especially this diet that it recommends. So yeah, so this program, and stop me if I just, am word vomiting all over the place, but this program, it's diet, exercise, and meditation and vitamin D based. So it really like follows the lifestyle medicine pillars and then is just super specific to MS. And so it recommends a whole food plant-based diet plus fish, so super similar to the Mediterranean diet, and it's got loads of evidence of studies on MS patients of how that works. And so I was like, okay, converted. And I beforehand was not treating my body very well. I
I
was,
feel like none of us were. Don't
yeah,
even, yeah.
and that's how we got here.
I smoked for crying out loud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was married to my ex-husband. We were eating bar food a lot. I just finished grad school and we were just, going out to eat all the time because I didn't have time to cook. I wasn't moving my body regularly. I certainly had like never really meditated. So there was all these things that I had to learn how to do.
Okay, I have a question about
Mm-hmm.
that. I'm really working on the meditation portion of everything. So I'm great with diet. I actually
Mm-hmm.
I have a hybrid. I follow the MS Hope um,
Okay.
cookbook, which is the Best Bet diet, and
Okay.
the Wall's Protocol. I
Mm-hmm.
It's a hybrid.
Yeah.
Because I'm not eating 97 pounds of vegetables a day.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how much it is, but I'm whatever. It's too much for me.
Yeah.
I drink a lot of smoothies. Like a lot. So I have the eating,
Mm-hmm.
I have the exercising, I do the journaling, I'm all of the things. I vitamin D like a boss because
Mm-hmm.
we live in Canada, and to be
Yeah.
fair, everybody in Canada should be taking vitamin D. My good neurologist said so.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, everybody should be taking it. But I'm not gonna lie. I try to meditate. I even have my pillow. I do the ones like the guided ones and everything like that. And I don't know. How do you know if you're even doing it right?
It honestly takes time, and I was the exact same as you. I have this like theory about the type of personality that MS affects. And it's like, we're like, okay, tell us how to eat, tell us how to move our bodies. Like, all those things are so like concrete, we can figure it out, right? But like,
Yeah.
get us to like slow down and go inside, and it's like a little trickier. And so that was the hardest piece for me by far. And for me, it came down to, well, what really helped was finding consistency. And I'm the kind of person where if I'm not held accountable, it's harder for me to do it, especially with things that are difficult for me. So
Yeah.
I started a Zoom group every morning where I have to get on Zoom. I put on a guided meditation, and anybody who wants to come and meditate together can come on. So normally I have like up to like 5 people. It's like not a huge group, but it's like open to anybody who ever wants to join. Like if you find me on Instagram and you want the link to it, I'll send it to you.
Yes,
Um,
please. I want to sign up for that because
yeah,
I need to learn how to do this properly because I feel
yeah,
like I'm just sitting. Sometimes I fall asleep.
yeah, 100%. And if that's what your body needs in that moment, that's okay too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the consistency is huge for me. I did take a couple classes that were really instrumental in like helping me find different ways to meditate and find what really resonates with me. There was a really cool one that was offered through the university in town for free for anybody in the community, and that was huge for me. It was a total game changer. And so now I literally just meditated for like 30 minutes right before our meeting because I love to just like get centered now before I do anything where I really want to show up as my best self and be articulate and all that. And so now my favorite way to do it, I use Insight Timer, the app. Have you heard of that?
No.
So it's free. Yeah, it's Insight, INSIGHT timer.
Okay.
It's a free app. It's got all the free guided meditations that I just throw on in my Zoom meetings, but then I also use there's a timer function where you just put on the timer. You can choose the sound of your bells that start and stop the session. And now I just love sitting there, and my favorite meditation is feeling my body sensations and
Okay.
feeling how they change. Because there will be like oftentimes my my main symptoms were with my first symptoms were with my right eye. So oftentimes I feel a lot of sensations like on the right side of my head, or if I'm going through something difficult, I often like feel a lot of sensations in my throat and like down the center column of my body. And so I love just like sitting and analyzing the sensations, and they'll move and they'll morph and they'll change. And that's a form of meditation. And you feel so like blissed out and grounded afterward. It's super cool.
Oh, you're speaking my language.
Yeah.
And it's, you know what's funny? It's kind of funny. So when I was young, which was a long time ago, when I was a lot younger, I was very, I was the hugest pothead on the face of the planet. I'm not gonna lie. Before I had kids, and I would wear like bright orange and pink, and like I was very one with, I was a tree hugger. It was all, and
Hmm.
I think it's so funny because it's almost done.
Yeah.
Full 360 back to, well, why the heck didn't I just stick with that situation? Because it was doing me good. You
Right.
know,
Go back to Mother Earth.
100%. Oh my God. Oh
I
my
love
God.
it.
For real. I love it. And it's it's funny because so we started, my husband's meditated for a few years, I'd say, but
Hmm.
ever since last year with all of this, and I'm like, hey, meditate. And I do meditate. I try to do it, everything. He's the boss at meditating. Yesterday he's like, oh, I thought I was only meditating for like 5 minutes. Next thing I know, it was 45 minutes later. I'm like, but how?
Some people just their brains are like wired differently, and others like us, it takes practice. And there is no right way, it's you sit down and you just try and calm your mind, right? And or like you observe the thoughts coming in and out of your mind so you're not taken with them. And so one thing that I loved in that class that I took is like every time you bring your mind back to like your breath or back to your center after it flits away with a thought, that's proof that you're meditating. And so if you have to bring your mind back 50 times, like you're meditating great because you're doing it. You're bringing your mind back to your center.
And I love yoga. I love
Hmm.
yoga. Honestly, I'm seriously contemplating becoming a yoga instructor. Like, I love yoga. I have a girlfriend who is an instructor, and I said it. She's like, "Yeah, do it." I like yin because
Hmm.
it's really, really good for people that have MS. And I know that people say, "Well, yoga's not going to cure me." No, it's not going to cure you, but it's sure going to make your body feel so much better
Yes.
because it's movement and it's stretching and it's holding it for a long period of time. But I do really, really well with breath work in yoga.
Nice.
Yeah, because I've done yoga for years. Like
Yeah.
I've done it for, 20 years probably.
Yeah. And breath
Yeah.
work is meditation too.
Yeah,
So you are doing it. You got this,
I am.
girl.
You know what it is? I just need proof. I'm a
Yeah.
proof lady. I need proof that it's happening.
Distrust.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what was the biggest mind shift you had after you got diagnosed?
Yeah, and so, um, gosh. Well, first of all, reading this book, I was like, I can heal myself. And I knew instantly that I always said when I first got diagnosed, I was like, in 10 years, I'm not going to have MS anymore. I'm going to heal myself. And it took for me like several years to start feeling better. But I had read the evidence, and so I knew that I wanted to stay the course because I knew that I wanted what these people had that did it, right? Um, and so really, I mean, if we're talking the biggest mindset shift, it came a couple years ago, so like 5 or 6 years after diagnosis, and I decided that I didn't want to claim MS anymore, that I was ready, that I didn't need to wait 10 years, that I was ready now. And there were a couple things that I like really needed to work through to make that happen. Because I was like, what's causing me to hold on to this? And I do teach an overcoming limiting beliefs course, and so I use that in my own life all the time. I have like 6 steps that I go through. But I was like, what's causing me to keep holding on to this? And one thing was that I would use it to elicit pity. right? Because it's just like, you don't know how hard it is. Like, I have MS, and it's all of that's true. Like, life is harder. And so I had to come to terms with being ready to let that go and to truly believe that I am healthy and happy and disease free. And then the other thing that I used it for was as an excuse to get out of things. And so, I'd be like, oh, I can't, I'm too tired, or I can't, like the heat, whatever. Um, and so I had to decide that instead of using it as an excuse, I would connect with myself in every situation and decide whether I wanted to do something or not, and then be honest about the reason that I wanted to do it or not. And so I knew that those were the two things I had to overcome, and it didn't happen immediately, but I decided that I was ready to let it go, to let the disease go. And at some point, and then it was changing all my language around it. So instead of saying I have MS or my MS, I use
For owning it as
I
yours.
I would say I was diagnosed with MS in 2017.
We call it the MS in my house because I don't want to
Beautiful.
own it. I'm like, I don't want to
Hmm.
own that.
Yep.
Super good. We call
Yeah.
it the MS.
The MS.
I,
Perfect.
I have the MS, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not yours.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
And that means that when you're ready to drop it, and there's like no timeline for anybody, when that should be, but when you're ready to drop it, it's gonna be so much easier because you don't own
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was my sister-in-law came for coffee this morning because she just got off work and we were talking about just life as a whole. And I had even said to her, I said, you know that no is a full sentence, right? And she kind of looked at me. I'm like, it's a full sentence. No just means no. I don't
100%.
want to do that. You don't have to give the other people an explanation on as to why you don't want to do something. It's really none of their business as long as
Hmm.
you know why you don't want to do it. For instance, I don't want to go out at 8:30 at night. Why? Because I'm 45 and I want to have my sweatpants on and a hoodie, drinking tea, watching my favorite TV show. That's why. Like, but
100%.
actually,
Like, nope, doesn't sound good to me. Yeah.
right, if it's past 6:30 at night, I'm good.
Yeah.
Because then I don't get to bed till 10. Then my sleep's all messed. It has nothing at all to do with MS. It has
Hmm.
everything to do with I don't want to.
100%. Like,
Right?
people pleasing is
Oh,
like generational
yeah.
and societal, and we're like always trying to save everyone's feelings when it's like, if we're just honest and true to ourselves, we not only benefit ourselves, we benefit everyone around us.
Yeah.
And
No, it's true. I don't think anybody's invited me out after 6:30 for a year and a half now. Not
it's
before the MS
like,
happened.
yep, they get it.
They're like, oh, she's not going to come. So we're just not going to bother doing that. But back to you're talking about limiting beliefs and all of that
Hmm.
um, stuff. 1,000%. I think a lot actually goes back to trauma as well.
Yes.
There's research that's been done that people who end up having MS, getting MS or having it, whatever you want to call it, people who get diagnosed with multiple sclerosis have had traumas,
Yep.
and they're not usually small traumas. They're usually larger traumas when they were kids, teenagers, that sort of thing. I do recommend to everybody, I'm not saying go and do it right this second, but if you feel that it works for you, I highly recommend going to see a psychologist to help
Hmm.
deal with all of the trauma from when you were younger and things to work through because a lot of your limiting beliefs come from the trauma from when you were a kid. The
Yeah.
thing is, though, is limiting beliefs don't necessarily even have to come from trauma, though. I am learning
Hmm.
this because a limiting belief can be as simple as your parents saying to you, well, money doesn't grow on trees.
Yep.
So in your head, I'm just using that as an example, but in your head, you're like, okay, so now I have to work harder and I can't be lazy and I have to do this, this, and this because money doesn't grow on trees. I don't want to be broke. That's not healthy.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
And yeah, it totally like it takes time to do a lot of like soul searching to figure out what's actually true for you, right? Because
And I'm not sure you're not a perfect 100% at it. I'm sure
right.
there's some that sneak back into your head and
Oh yeah.
you're like, fuck off. No.
Yeah. And the nice thing is though that you get the more practice you have, the easier it gets to see when they're coming in and to be like, okay, I recognize you. This is my powerful belief that I chose over that one, right? And so then you get to like rewire your brain to start um going towards what you actually want and what's actually true for you. And so yeah, it's a really cool process. And yeah, it helps you break through some of that trauma and yeah, just some of those like random things that one person one off said to you that you decided to make a core belief
Yeah.
and or one experience that made you believe something and then you look at it and you're like, "Oh, is that actually true? And can I find evidence to show that it's not true?" Well, a huge limiting belief that I've had to overcome recently that I've had my whole life is that I'm not good at technology and I don't like it. And being a virtual entrepreneur, that's like a really terrible belief to have.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, how many instances have I really rocked it out with technology, but I just had that limiting belief that was coming in all the time that would stop me from wanting to try and that would stop me from wanting to do things. And now I'm like, okay, nope, I've been actually really great at technology my whole life. And I can pinpoint where that belief came from, but it was, in childhood. And and then I choose to replace it with technology is my friend and it's helping me share my message and it's helping me help others. And it's this amazing tool that connects me to people across the globe.
Yeah.
And I'm really good at it. And I've got to believe that. Sometimes when
You
you
are good at it. I found you.
yeah, sometimes when you tell yourself that it feels fake, but you keep telling yourself over and over and it starts being real. And then you approach things differently. Because when you feel like you're good at something, you're not afraid.
That's funny that you say that. So
Hmm.
I now, so I still have I have a floral studio, all the other stuff. I had a flower shop. And for the longest time, I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know. I don't know. Now I'm like, I'm one of the friggin' best ones where I live for wedding. Why would I not even think like I've been in so many magazines, like I'm like what the, but even then I was
Yeah.
like, oh, like that's the Rocky Mountain Bride. I'm
Yeah.
published in that for a wedding. Like I'm not, my flowers are, but
Yeah.
it's so
Isn't it
crazy.
wild? And other people will be like, "What are you talking about? You are incredible in all these different ways that you
And you're
think
like,
you're
no, I'm
not."
not.
And I'm like,
Okay.
"What?"
Like, or you do this face, you're like, whatever. And
Yeah.
it's so one of mine, and I really want to get over it because I do, and I want to do something special for my kids that I've been saying I would do it for a few years now. So I always wanted to be a singer. That was like my dream in life was to for my forever. And
We're
then
kindred spirits. Same.
right, like just we're supposed to be best friends, Kiki. I've
Yes.
decided. And I'm gonna call her out because she's no longer with us, so I totally can. She's not gonna listen to this, but my grandma actually was really shitty to me one time about singing. Even though I practiced and practiced and practiced, I wanted to sing Amazing Grace at my grandpa's funeral. That was like I practiced and practiced and practiced. And then we got to the funeral and she said no, that the guy was going to sing it because he knew how to sing it better than I did. Yeah. trauma. No,
Yeah,
no,
I'm kidding. But
unlock.
seriously, yeah.
Yeah. And so ever since then, like I'll sing with like the kids. I sing with the kids. When they were little, I would sing. My youngest and I would, or and actually my oldest, we would sing in the car, we all the time. And I stopped singing, I'd say probably 2 years ago, maybe a little bit right before everything kind of went sideways.
Mhm.
So both of my boys are artists. They both sing. Um, and so for Christmas, so the youngest one took guitar lessons at a place called Resonate here in Edmonton. But we have time left for the times that he didn't go that we've already paid for. So for Christmas, there was a song that I would sing. One had one song, the other one had a different song that I would sing to them when they were little.
Mhm.
So for Christmas, I want to go in and record it for them to give it to them for Christmas.
That's so
Right?
special. Yes.
So that I get to go into a recording studio.
Yes. And that might spark something in you, and you can go join like a community choir. If you have that spark in you, it's a gift that you've been given that you're
Yeah,
supposed to be using.
right? And I love indie. I love all of that
Mhm.
stuff. So I'm like, yeah. I'm like, why did I ever stop singing? I'm like, oh, that's why.
I
That
did.
was one time when I was 17.
Mhm. I
I
had
was
a
moving to
really
Nashville. I had plans, girl.
Ah,
I had plans.
yes, I had a really similar experience, and well, not similar, but I stopped singing for a long time where I like loved singing growing up. Some of my trauma, my early childhood trauma, definitely shook my self-confidence, so that's something I've always struggled with. Um, but yeah, I had an experience that basically stopped me from singing. And just recently, me and my new partner, he's a musician. He's a extremely talented musician. And like just over a year ago, I was like, well, I play ukulele. And I was like, let me play for you. And I played and sang and was like shaking the whole time because I just wasn't used to doing that. I shut down my voice for so long. And now a little over a year later, we we just played 2 gigs this last weekend. We've got 2 gigs coming up. We're doing a UK tour at the end of June with a
What?
different band of his, and I get to sing for them. It's like insane. Literally a year ago, I wasn't singing for anybody.
Shut up. That is the coolest thing I've ever heard.
And
Kiki.
it opens you like when you have that spark, and I'm like so lucky I was attracted to him obviously because he's so musical and like amazing. And yeah, he's helped bring this beautiful gift out of me that was locked away for so long. And we all deserve, people, I love sharing it because people get joy out of it, right? And that's like the beautiful thing is when we share our gifts, it just overflows to everybody else.
Yeah. I asked for my husband got me a violin for Christmas, which I haven't played violin, oh my God, in so many years. I have to actually take lessons again because I don't remember how to do it.
Yeah.
So he got me a beautiful violin. So that's on the list
Yes.
too. And it's interesting because I would have never, I know that this sounds so, I don't know if it's cliche or shitty all at the same time, but I, for real, would have never started living a life that I love until I got diagnosed with MS.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm the same. And I loved a post that I was looking through your Instagram, and I loved a post that you made where you're like, is MS a gift? No, I'm the gift. And like
Yeah.
MS makes you slow the hell down to where you can like realize that. And that's so true. Like when you're not living in alignment with how you're supposed to be living and what you're supposed to be doing, your body course corrects for you. And it is like this beautiful thing that we can take and be like, oh, I wasn't living the way I was supposed to. What am I supposed to do? What are my gifts? What am I supposed to be doing right now? And it's like a crazy journey. I mean, it took me, you know, 5, 6 years to like get there for myself. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Well, and So I'm doing coaching, holistic
Hmm.
wellness coaching. You do coaching as well. Um, I'm gonna have to check out all your stuff. I'm very, very excited about this. Before we move forward, make sure you guys go below, subscribe to my channel, give me a like, and share with anybody that you think would benefit from this. I loved being on stage when I was younger.
Yep.
I was in all the plays, I was in choir, I was in band, you name it, I did it, I loved it, I was always on stage. And having it diagnosed, I have the podcast, which I love. I love
Hmm.
people, I love community, I love community.
Yes.
Um,
Connecting.
yeah, I love connecting with like-minded people. It has to
Hmm.
be like-minded people for me. It can't just be
Yep.
random whatever, because now I want to get into public speaking and talking to people about MS. And
Hmm.
this is not a life sentence. Oh my
Right.
God. This is a chance to live another life.
Yeah.
And I don't think everybody sees it like that. Some people
Right.
just lay down and don't get me wrong. I do my infusion.
Hmm.
Um, I have lots of reasons why I do my
Yeah.
infusion because, well, my legs work now, so I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I also needed my nervous system to calm down.
Hmm.
Like it's, but I do the diet, I do the exercise, I do all of that other stuff too. So it's not a life sentence for me. I'm
Yeah.
so grateful that I get to, I, what's the best way for me to explain this? I literally sold my stress. When I sold my flower shop, I literally sold
Hmm.
all of my stress. Everything went away with that. Everything. From owning a shop to having to deal with employees to worrying about finances because if you have a slow month, you have to take from your savings, move the stuff around, blah, 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 blah. The stress from my family of never seeing them, the
Hmm.
stress of not eating properly, the stress of not exercising, the stress of not getting any vitamin D because I was always in a building.
Hmm.
So I literally sold like a whole different life on July 31st last year.
Beautiful.
Right? Like it is, like it's wonderful. And I know that some people look at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah. And I'm sure that was a really hard decision because that was like your identity, but it's like
But right?
but a beautiful shift to be
Yeah.
like, okay, I get to make a new me whenever I want.
And the thing is that people can do it. You don't have to get diagnosed with MS.
Yeah.
Oh my God, please do it before you do get diagnosed with
Right.
something.
Right.
Just you can reinvent yourself as many times as you want to.
Exactly.
It's
Yes.
beautiful
Yes.
if you actually look at life like that.
100%. And yeah, I feel like one of the biggest things for me too is just finding my authentic self. That's like been one of the biggest healing methods is just tuning in to be like, okay, who am I and what do I actually want? And it's like this huge hug for your nervous system to actually like live in alignment with who you are instead of all these conditioned beliefs around what we're supposed to be doing, how our life timeline is supposed to go, how our finances are supposed to look, how everything is supposed to be. We get to let go of all of that and figure out what we actually desire and like have full trust that we'll be supported in that by
The
I
universe.
call it the universe. Yep.
Yeah. Or if you're really like God,
Hmm.
whatever,
Yeah,
and it's
totally.
however you want to look at it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
for me, whenever I make a decision that's in alignment with my true self, it's crazy how the universe shows up for me. And all these opportunities just boom, 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 boom open up. And it's super exciting to live in that way and to just like trust fall into the universe all the time.
How long did it take you to get to that point, though? I'm just wondering. I'm
Yeah.
asking for a friend. No.
So, I was just kind of trucking along, trying to get down the healthy lifestyle first, trying to figure all that out. And then I feel like uh, my journey into like finding myself and my authenticity really, like the biggest step in it was in late 2022, when I decided to be really honest with myself, um, in that I didn't want to be married anymore. And that was a really uh, difficult, it was most difficult to be honest with myself about it because I had this really lovely relationship. I had a really supportive husband. And so from just a bird's eye view, I was like, why would you ever want to leave that? You have a comfortable, like really nice life. You enjoy each other's company. You're like great friends. And I realized that I wanted something different. And I first had to be honest with myself and admit that to myself. And then I had to have some really hard conversations with him. And it was a lot of working through that, um, in early 2023. And then we decided that we wanted different things for the future and we decided to split. And ever since then, ever since I just decided to choose myself, he's still one of my very best friends, by the way. We have still this incredible friendship, and I love his partner. But it's like everything then after that was just like bliss, bliss, bliss. The universe came in and found me a house. I found my new partner super quickly, who's just the light of my life, and our sweet little three-legged cattle dog. And then every time I make these really hard decisions, like I quit my 9 to 5 and decided to go into business for myself, just all this help has come out of the woodwork every time, and everything just gets more and more exciting and beautiful. But it's like always the hard decision because we're so programmed to live a certain way that it's scary to make those difficult decisions. So for me, it just was a process of once I felt good in my body, once I felt like I had really um, mastered like the lifestyle portion of MS and my body felt really good, it opened me up to have space to look at the rest of my life
Yeah.
and where else I wanted to feel good.
Yeah. I have a coach that um it's a program more, I think,
Mm-hmm.
that I follow. And one of the I'll be implementing it in mine for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that you're asked to do, I'm pulling my little book right now. You had a book, I'm going to pull a book. So there's 4 quadrants, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but you're supposed to picture a life you would love to live, is what you're supposed to actually, with no understanding of how or when or what or whatever. So there's a health and well-being portion, love and relationships, vocation, time and money freedom. So you go
Mm-hmm.
through, and I went to the conference and it was amazing because you have to write down how you're feeling in the beginning, like what you think about all of these things in the beginning of what it's supposed to look like or what you think it's supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go through a whole bunch of work and you do breathing exercises and then you come out on the other end of it. And then you have to write down after you do, it's like a mini meditation breathing exercise. Wow, is it ever different than what your brain is telling you you're supposed to be doing?
Yes.
Like it's wild. It is wild.
I've had some experiences like that where I'm like, oh wow, what I actually want to do, like if I actually could be totally honest, is like quit everything and travel the world singing, right? But
Yeah.
it's like crazy because we don't let ourselves feel into that.
We're best friends. I've decided. We're like, yeah.
I'll come see you. I've been to Calgary, so I've been close.
You've been very close. It's only
Yep.
4 hours drive from there. 3 hours.
Easy.
3 hours. I'm
Easy.
sorry you went to Calgary and not here.
Yeah. Well,
Actually, I'm not. Calgary is pretty awesome.
it was
Not gonna lie.
totally sweet. I
Yeah,
loved
it's beautiful.
it.
Yeah, like I would love to educate people
Mhm.
on, please God, just you only get one time around the sun, man. Like, or whatever they say. You only get one life. Stop pleasing everybody. Please yourself. For
Mhm.
real. Don't make
And
yourself sick trying to please
and
everybody.
the nice
Not
thing is
worth it.
when we please ourselves, we actually have such a greater impact on everyone else around us. Our joy is contagious and it makes other people spread joy and choose themselves to spread joy. And we have such a greater impact when we choose ourselves.
I didn't choose myself hardly ever when I owned
Mhm.
the shop. It was the shop and it was the shop. I chose the shop. That was what I chose.
Mhm.
Um, so at Christmas, I tell this story a lot. So one of the girls that worked for me, who now owns her own flower shop, by the way, which I'm very excited for her. I
Nice.
helped them before Mother's Day, like get organized. Her, and the other girls that worked for me threw me a surprise Christmas party.
Oh,
Oh,
I
right?
love that.
Isn't that? But I wouldn't go and visit with people. I wouldn't go do stuff with people. I have one girlfriend that I've always gone out with every month. We do one thing together. Now I do that with my other best friend.
Mhm.
I went and helped her at her shop. We go for dinner with her and her husband. My husband and I go this weekend coming up. We're doing the MS walk, and then we're going for all you can eat sushi with friends of his. And I'm like,
Beautiful.
we've never done this ever, and it's amazing.
Look how happy you are just telling me about it. Like
Yeah.
that joy is something that it expands outside of your body and you get to
Yeah.
share that with the world.
Like community is so important.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
It can be five. It can be
Right.
10. It can be three.
Yeah.
But just build yourself some sort of a community. It's very
Yeah.
important.
Yep. When I first moved to Flagstaff, or when I moved back to Flagstaff, let's see, in 2019, I made it a mission because I had already had MS for a couple years and I didn't know anybody that chose a lifestyle that was similar to mine. And so it was really difficult. And so when I moved up to Flag with my ex-husband, I purposely wanted to build a community of healthy, like-minded people. And so I went on the Flagstaff Vegans and Vegetarians website or Facebook group, and I made some of my very best friends. And one of them, we walk together 3 times a week. And it's amazing. So even when I was going through my divorce and through every difficult thing I've ever done, I've got this supportive community that we'll get together and we'll eat super healthy meals. We'll get together and we'll move our bodies. And I had these habits just ingrained in my life because of this beautiful community to where I didn't drop the ball, even though I so easily could have, right? I could have just like curled up in a corner and because it was extremely emotional and extremely draining. And although I wanted to, it's like, nope, I already had all these people that were going to get me out and get me doing the things. And it's like such an incredible thing to have when you're happy and up and be able to be that for other people. And then you know you've got people you can count on when you need it.
But they have to be the right people.
Yes.
I've learned this in the
Yes.
last year. They actually have to be the right people.
Hmm.
So, my best friend, she's so funny. She was, when everything happened, I wanted nobody around me.
Yep.
Everybody leave me alone because my life is freaking wild right now.
Trying to
I
figure it
couldn't
out.
even talk after 6 o'clock at night. My
Hmm.
speech would go, it still does once in a while if I'm really tired, but
Hmm.
like it would go.
Yeah.
Like Have you ever been there?
Physically couldn't. Yep.
Physically couldn't, or I sounded like I had marbles in my mouth, and I didn't want to be around people, but my best friend, she's so funny. So her daughter is my goddaughter, and she's 7 or 8 now. I can't remember. So they would just drop random stuff off at my front door. Random.
Mm.
Like my goddaughter made me this little Play-Doh. I don't even know what it is. It's on my nightstand. She dropped me off an emotional support pickle that you like squeeze, like just the
Oh,
most
I love
random
it.
shit that you can think of.
Yes.
And so now when her partner's out of town, she's like, "Do you want to go for wings?" Yep, I do, because I eat chicken wings like a boss. So let's do it because I can eat that. So let's go. So yeah, it's really interesting because before I didn't put effort.
Mm-hmm. You're
Everything else
busy.
was more important. The shop was more important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's not, I promise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the relationships are what's important. And a couple things is like one thing I definitely now really analyze how I feel after, like during and after leaving people. And for the most part, all of my friends are so incredible, and I leave them feeling so pumped up and uplifted, and I'm on a high for like hours or days afterward. And then it makes it a real contrast when I have the opposite experience, when I leave an interaction feeling drained and like really just like not feeling great. And sometimes there's a good reason for that. Sometimes you really have to like be an emotional support for somebody else that's important to you and that
Yeah.
will be that for you. But sometimes it's not that case, and you're like, actually, like this person's frequency and mine don't necessarily mesh, and I'm not uplifted from being around them. And so I make really conscious decisions. Like you said, it's got to be the right people who you are around for sure. Um,
They
and
have to meet your frequency.
yes, yep, they got to
Yeah.
meet your vibe.
100%. A hundred.
Yeah.
And it's so when you switched your lifestyle, I'm doing
Hmm.
this because that's how I feel when I talk about changing my lifestyle.
Yep.
Um, was it, did you, are you still friends with everybody that you were friends with when you switched your lifestyle?
Not necessarily. And it's funny because I'm like this one really important couple to me comes to mind where like our lifestyles aren't necessarily, they're still like very much living my old lifestyle, but they've also been like my biggest supporters. So they've come along like on the journey with me. So I am like certain people have stuck around and certain people have fallen out because yeah, we don't mesh anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I always say, I've said this long before I ever heard it from anybody else, but
Hmm.
everybody in your life has a season.
Yep.
So the season might be long, the season might be short, but at some point, that season will come to an end at some point.
Hmm.
But it
Yep.
doesn't mean that you're not learning and growing
And
and
grateful for
noticing
them.
and grateful for it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Totally.
a hundred
Yeah.
percent. Okay, so
Yeah.
see, we could just talk for like
This
ever.
could be
I have
a
more
4-hour podcast.
I have more questions for you. We got through 2 questions. I have 24 of them
Oh
for
my
you.
goodness.
You're
Okay.
gonna have to come back on Kiki, I've decided.
Perfect.
So what are your go-to tools if do you have MS flare-ups?
I haven't had any in a couple years now.
Okay.
And so yeah, it's kind of crazy, but I think with that like big mindset shift,
Yeah.
it really, because there's so much research behind our beliefs and then the physiological impact on our bodies. I think with that like big shift that I had decided to make, that I don't have MS anymore, my physiology was like, okay, cool. We're here for it. But
You're like,
also,
cool.
yeah, and if I do, I've decided because there's also just like random um or I feel like there could be random symptoms that come up where I now look at them as um, just messages from my body, right? And I'm like, oh, hey, okay. Like, I've got a little bit of a headache. Like, what's my body trying to tell me right now today? And so, uh, for me, I guess, yeah, I'm a little bit removed from the active MS flares.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I can't
That's
complain.
awesome. No, that's amazing. I'm
Yep.
still figuring it out
Yeah.
because it's only
Yeah.
been like a year. So
One
I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah, one thing, a book that I just read recently that I'm like super obsessed with, and it's really about chronic pain, but I think it's got much broader like implications. It's called The Way Out.
Okay.
And I was super excited when I read it because I knew it would help me help the people I'm trying to help in my coaching. Um, and it's all about somatic um, releasing of pain. And, I've used that process in letting go of negative emotions, like in a lot of different realms and trauma work. But just like if you're experiencing sensation or pain or what have you, just to be super present with it. Oftentimes we want things to go away really badly that we don't give it space to just be in our body. And what you resist will persist, right? And that's literally any negative emotion you have, anxiety, pain, crappy sensations. If you focus on them, the more you focus your attention on them, and depending on the severity of it, like feelings can go away in a couple minutes and you release this, it could be stored trauma from childhood or from today, but when you let your body feel emotions, you get a huge release.
Yeah.
And same with pain or other things. And with pain and neurological issues, it can take longer, but if you're committed, uh, at least in these books. I wish I would have. The other really good book is called Letting Go by David Hawkins,
Okay.
and he talks about letting go of emotions and pain and a lot of different things. Um, I wish I had it when I was experiencing some of the pain that I was experiencing with MS, or the weird neurological issues. But at least from the stories and anecdotes and studies in the book, you know, it could take maybe 4 hours of focusing on something, but then it can be resolved and actually released instead of just stored for later when we try
Yeah.
and mask our symptoms.
It's it's said that if how do they say it? It go something along the lines of if you focus on negative, if your attention is on the negative, you will experience the negative.
Mm-hmm.
And if your focus is on the positive, you will experience the positive. So if you are focused on having bad health, you will have bad health. If you are
Mm-hmm.
focused on having good health, you will have good health, finances, all of that stuff. Anything and everything to do with it. And I used to be like, okay, this is woo-hooey. It's so not woo-hooey on any level. It's so
And
real.
it's scientifically backed at this
Yeah,
point. It's like quantum physics,
yeah.
scientifically backed.
It is. It's scientific, and I'm a science girl. Like
Mm-hmm.
I went to school. I worked in the lab. Like that was my first life. I've
Yeah,
had a few. I've had a
nice.
few.
Same.
So there's that. I don't know. What would be a message to somebody newly diagnosed who feels lost or scared?
Yeah. Um, First of all, lean on any community that you have and ask for what you need. Where I feel like, especially in the States, it's like we live in this very individualistic society where we should be able to take care of ourselves, that we're so not used to asking for what we need. And it's like, if you just need somebody to come over and like let you cry, like ask for that. I was so afraid to ask for what I needed in the beginning, and community can make it a lot easier and just a lot less painful.
And don't assume that people know.
Yes.
I will say that because I didn't ask. I did ask a few people. They didn't come through
Hmm.
for me, which is on them, not me.
Hmm. Yep.
But I also assumed that people would know what I needed. Just
Yeah.
because we've known each other for so long, they don't know. They
They
have
don't
no
know.
idea.
So
They have
yeah,
no
be
clue.
specific. Be
You have to be
specific.
very, very specific.
Ask for what you need. And then for me, the Overcoming Multiple Sclerosis
Yeah,
program was huge, in helping me see a different future that was possible and giving you the steps to do it.
yeah,
Um, and then just to plug myself for a second,
yeah,
I offer a free masterclass twice a month called Finding Freedom with MS, where I kind of go over some of the lifestyle stuff, but then we do overcoming limiting beliefs workshops and that.
yeah.
And then I created a group coaching program that's literally what I wished was available when I first got diagnosed. But even if you've had it for 10 years and you're still confused because there's so much information out there, it's an amazing program no matter what stage you're coming to it from. And we go over all the lifestyle medicine that's been scientifically proven to help treat and can even reverse MS. And then we go into a lot of the other emotional healing, mindset work, gratitude, journaling, all the other key components, finding your authenticity and like living in an authentic manner authentic manner. So basically it's a compilation of everything that I've used to heal and everything that I wish was available. Somebody to walk me through and ask questions, and it's a cool program if anybody is interested in that. My next group starts on July 20th, and it's an 8-week course
We're
called
going to put all of those links everywhere for you.
Perfect.
Yeah. I have
Awesome.
one last question
Yep.
before we say bye. Because you can't pronounce it, you're going to have to pronounce this for me, okay? Ho'oponopono. How do I pronounce it?
Yeah. Ho'oponopono.
Okay, say that 3 times fast. No, I'm just kidding.
Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono.
So it's a traditional Hawaiian practice of forgiveness and emotional healing.
Yes.
And you incorporate this.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, lay it on me. Tell me all about it.
It's a really incredible practice, and especially you hit the nail on the head when you said that I'd say 99.9, if not 100% of MS and autoimmune patients have had some sort of like pretty severe trauma that we store because we don't know how to deal with it when we're young normally. And so getting it to release is really tricky, and we don't want to relive the trauma most of the time, right? So Ho'oponopono is this incredible way that you can release a lot of trauma without having to revisit the traumatic event. And so it's this ancient Hawaiian technique where you just repeat 4 phrases over and over again to yourself. Ideally, when you're envisioning a person that has harmed you that you want to forgive. And so the 4 phrases are: I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And it helps open your heart to forgiveness and release. And you're just, picturing them, or you don't even necessarily have to picture them. And you just say it over and over to yourself. This is another wonderful way to meditate, and just do it each day, however long it takes for you to feel a shift. And then normally you do feel a shift and you're like, oh my gosh, like I don't freak out when I think about this person anymore. Or I could actually think about reaching out and like reconciling, or you never think about them again. And that's okay too. And it's super neat. There have been some really cool studies on it. For instance, this one doctor went to this prison, I think it was in Hawaii, and it was all super violent offenders. Everybody that worked at the prison was super on edge because these people were pretty like aggressive and there was always incidences happening. And what he did was he just went and he looked at all, he would sit in an office. He never like had any one-on-one interactions with any of the prisoners. He would sit in the office, he'd look at their files, and he would read what they did, read all their files, and then he would practice Ho'oponopono for each person. And
Oh,
within like a month or so, all of their behaviors, all of their behaviors died down. And all of the employees were like excited to go to work again. They weren't afraid.
yeah.
And there's this theory behind it where if whatever, um, basically everyone we encounter in our lives are mirrors. And whatever you see in them also exists in yourself. So this can be positive. Like when you see a musical artist that you admire and you're like, yes, they're so good, that also lives within you. If you can see it,
Okay.
it lives within you. But that also is true for the negative. If you're if someone hurts you or you see this terrible quality in somebody else, it also exists in you. And so by going through Ho'oponopono, you're taking responsibility for the part that exists in you that actually enables you to see it in somebody else.
Okay.
And you're asking not only for forgiveness for them, but forgiveness for you and that part of you. And so basically this doctor, because he was reading their files and could feel some sort of outrage at whatever they had done, he's taking responsibility for it, but it heals both parties. It's kind of a crazy thing.
That's great. Okay, I'm gonna try that. I have a few people that I need to do it for. How do you
Yeah.
pronounce it?
Ho'oponopono.
Say Ho'oponopono.
Yes. And I've
Okay.
used it like for my deepest traumas, but also like real life situation, like real time situations. Like
Yeah.
one time, the coolest experience that I had with it, because I feel like the universe just like rewarded me right after. I was walking through one of our local bookstores and I got a text from my HOA guy and it upset me. And I was like really angry with him. And I could feel my body reacting in anger, right? And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna Ho'oponopono this shit. And so I was just walking through the bookstore, thinking about the guy and going through the four phrases in my head. So you don't have to sit down and meditate. It could be real time, whatever you're doing, whenever you feel an activation of like a negative emotion, you can tie it to somebody or something. You can Ho'oponopono it. And I felt better, obviously, because like just the act of it makes you feel better. And then I went up to the checkout and they're like, oh, you're our Bookman's free cart winner today. And I got my whole order for free.
Oh
And I
my
was just,
God.
I know, I was just like, okay, that's the universe being like, cool, Kiki, like, way to choose love and forgiveness and not hold on to that story and remain activated in that anger.
Yeah.
And here's some free books.
That's beautiful.
Yep.
I love that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're gonna sign off, but you're gonna come back
Okay,
on again at some point.
perfect. I'm here
Because,
for it.
yeah,
Whenever.
don't go anywhere yet.
Okay,
Um, but to everybody that's listening, thank you so much for tuning in, and you will hear from me again next Saturday.